Hello, my name is Matt Reese, and here I'm going to give you our 8-minute executive version of Agile Project Management, Data Science and Technical Specialist Guide to Supporting Agile Projects. So we only have 8 minutes, and I'm definitely going to go ahead and pack it in. So we're going to go ahead and get right started. And as you can see, I was an MBA and had a Master in Science and Data Science from Northwestern University, and I have a PMP, PMI RMP, and a PMI ACP, which is the reason I just did this after getting that last certification. Okay, so here we go. Agile versus Waterfall Project Management. Hey, why project management approach matters, the relevance for data science and technical specialists, and the high-level comparison, not methodology training. So why does project management approach matter? Well, it matters because of what you're dealing with. And then, you look at some of the original projects, they were more construction-based, where it was a very much a linear or in one line using waterfall process. So you had to go piece by piece by piece, and it made a lot of sense. Look, you could not start doing walls until you had the foundation done. You couldn't do the roof until you had all the siding and everything else done, until the framing was done. And then you had to take time out to let the concrete cool and stuff like that. So it made a lot of sense to do the whole linear piece. However, when you start to get into some of the IT piece and some of the other Agile pieces, some of the IT and some of the data science we're talking about today, things started kind of changing. And the idea was that, we don't have to build a physical house, everything there. We could build, a version and show it to the people, make sure they want, and keep going back and forth and back and forth. Because, when it comes to a house, particularly in a neighborhood, example I'll use here in the next couple of minutes, you kind of knew what was going on. And you knew what the customers knew what they were going to get, so you didn't have to necessarily go back and forth because they had a pretty good idea. Hey, if you're going to have green carpet, it was green carpet. Everybody knows what this green carpet is going to be, so it was very simple. Okay, and then we'll get into a little high-level comparison. And we've got a total of 6 minutes left. Okay, project flow. You got a linear step-by-step approach. Again, you asked me why to say linear and not waterfall. Well, linear is the actual methodology. Waterfall is the process that supports the methodology. And then look at the flexibility. We talked about it a little bit there with the house construction angle. And then the customer involvement. As I mentioned, hey, it was a little bit limited. It was really hard to, if you ever had a house built or whatnot, you didn't have that much involvement unless you were there every day. They would only call you when it was time to see kind of the end product or something very, very important there. And it was delivered at the very end. So you bought a house, you came to see it, you walk through before you signed your papers, and you went down to the title company. And, they were talking about the teams working in separate siloed groups. Hey, it's kind of the same thing. The concrete guys are the concrete guys, and then the structure guys are the structure guys, the roofers are the roofers, electricians, and so forth. So now we go to the Agile piece. We talk about sprints, highly flexible, and deliver small, usable segments. And then we'll get a bit more to that. Now, what is the process? What are the processes to support the Agile methodology? We have Scrum, we have Kanban, and Extreme Programming. There are others. Well, these are kind of the 3 most common, and we'll mention just a little bit about it. Next, Agile Process Management. Short, repeated sprints, continuous feedback and adaptation, frequent delivery of working increments, learning doing the project, a strong fit for data problems. So if you have a data problem, and let me go ahead and move so you all can see really quickly. When you have that data problem there, the issue is that, hey, it could be a data problem, it could be a solution using data, a combination of the both. So when you're doing that, what you're doing is you're going to be evolving, and that resolution can be ever-changing in the minds of customers. So that's why Agile Project Management is so much better for using data science projects. So if you want to find yourself on a data science project, either as a developer, a data scientist, but you're just going to be a SME on the project, or you find yourself something like a subject matter expert, I'll use SME, from like legal, compliance, the business, somewhere else, just make sure you know. All right. Our next slide. Okay, key differences at a glance. And this time, I promise I will move myself over here so you can see. Okay, so change, resistant versus embraced. We have when we have linear waterfall, change is pretty much resistant. Hey, stick to the game plan. Get the game plan. When we have Agile, it's definitely embraced. We always want to make sure we're embracing change and input from our customer also called a product owner because that's going to be the first representation of the customer. Delivery. Hey, again, when you have linear, hey, it was like someone building a house. You're not going to see it much till you get to the very end. You might drive by and see the house being built, but that's it. Versus delivery for the Agile, you're seeing it on a 2-week sprint. You're seeing it, you're seeing it, you're seeing it. So by the time it's finally complete, there shouldn't necessarily be any real surprises. And then we talked about technical specialists and late involvement versus continuous collaboration. And we've got just a little less than 2.5 minutes. Here are 21 common Agile terms. And as you can see, and I'll go ahead and let you see the other ones there. And we're going to focus on 6. And so here are the 6. So we're going to start with a definition of done. Again, we broke that one up. That's one of the other key components of Agile project management. You want to make sure, hey, user tasks, code reviews, acceptance criteria met, all these other items, so that when you come as an Agile project, when it's complete, you can say, hey, we met the definition of done, we did it, this should be complete. And then we start saying, okay, well, when we add to that, and I'm going to go ahead and move again so you guys can see. Next thing we're going to do is take a look at the minimum viable product, the MVP. Okay, not sports MVP. This MVP is going to be the minimum amount that we can complete, that we can do to say that we completed the project. Again, as an Agile product owner, Scrum Master, you want to deliver as much value as possible and keep adding more and more value until your time and resources are expended. However, the minimum viable product is good to know because in some cases, if you do just need to make sure you complete the minimum viable project in the time frame, and then you can use a subsequent project to have more. Happy path. Again, I've been using these happy path. That's how things are supposed to go. If things stay on the supposed to go. The daily Scrum. This is what's going to happen. Instead of having that waterfall piece, the daily Scrum stand up, everyone in the project is going to say what I did yesterday, what I'm doing today, and any roadblocks. Everyone's just doing that. It's supposed to be a stand up because originally people did standing up, and they were standing up if able. And but essentially there with that, you had a situation where when people were standing up, it would limit the meeting because everybody would eventually get tired and want to sit there for the rest of the time. So with our last slide, will be slightly over. We have 7.5 minutes. Understand here are the developer takeaways. Understand which type of product you were involved with, either a linear waterfall or an Agile. Understand what your role is. Likely a developer could be a subject matter expert. Understand the daily stand-up routine. We mentioned that. What I did the past 24 hours, next 24 hours, roadblocks. Understand how the sprint routine allows for development and differs from linear. We talked about that. You're going to have these 2-week sprints bringing more and more value until the end. We mentioned MVP and continuous integration. So whenever you're developing things on your project, you want to make sure your change management is there. You can use GitHub and others. And the last thing I'll mention is the fact that, hey, if you do need help while you're doing a project, this is what you want to do. You want to make sure you're asking for help from the Scrum Master or others, and they will do it from swarming or remote pairing or mobbing. All three are kind of similar, but basically they will have a situation where other developers will come help you and make sure you get you on your way. And the last thing I'll say, if you are a developer, make sure you're not shy about asking for help. There we go. There's my 8-minute executive version. Please tell me what you think. Thank you so much.